Hello. It is us again. I am Kel.
And I'm Quintella.
And this is
Recipe to Chivalry.
And as custom, we will start off with a prayer real quick. Father God, in the name of Jesus, Lord, we thank you for today. We thank you for allowing us to wake up this morning and see another day. Lord, we thank you for everyone that will hear this podcast live and anyone that will hear after the rebroadcast. And we ask that all takes from it. In your name be given the glory and honor. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All righty.
How you doing today?
I am doing great. A little tired, but I am.
You're here.
Great. I'm here.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you are, sir.
All righty. How are you doing?
I'm all right. I'm all right now. I'm next to you.
We done ate.
Get a little closer. I'm getting closer.
We done ate. Feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Got my belly full.
Yeah, drinking my little tea over here.
Sipping on some water.
Mm-hmm. Are we doing good today?
Doing good today.
Hello. We picked a little serious one, I think.
Yeah, I mean, a little. I think they're all serious, but
this I mean, definitely.
This was probably one of those rare. Well, I'm gonna say rare, but hardly discussed touch topics. And as you can see on the screen, it's dealing with mental health struggles in relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second to that would be, is it okay to go through your partner's personal belongings? So those are the two topics we're going to deal with today.
Okay.
And let us begin.
Okay. Let's deal with who we got coming in. Somebody waiting to get in.
Let's see. This is our regular.
Hey. I'm getting back on camera, but hey.
All right, this is our regular. Glad to have you with us.
Glad to have you with us. If I could too, I would. Let me tell you, I was like, I gotta take my bonnet off. I gotta fix my hair. Look, I ain't trying to do that. I was like, look, they just gonna get me the way they gonna get me today.
Take me as I am.
Right, that's it. Y'all gonna love me. This is how I look. This is what I'm looking like. All natural. So, hey, Mom.
We got my mom over here on Facebook watching. Thank you for joining, Mom. Okay, so
let's go ahead and get it straight so I can see it.
Okay, while you're dealing with that, I'm gonna dig into this a little bit. So, relationships with mental health struggles, supporting a partner with depression and anxiety or other mental health issues, setting boundaries while maintaining connection. That can be a rough one. It can be for
that's Gracie.
I thought it was my dogs.
I'm sorry.
But,
well, it is one of your grandchildren.
That could be stemming from, did your partner know that they were dealing with a mental health issue? Maybe they feel like they was always that way and it's just them, or did they know and were keeping that to themselves and didn't allow you to know, and now you're having to deal with it and you're realizing that it's something else. It's a health issue. So how would you deal with that on those two notes?
Okay.
Oh, we got Tim watching. What up, Tim? How you doing? Glad you're on here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I asked him what was that about, what he was putting up there. But what is that? How what? Yeah. So mental health. You asked a two-part question.
Yes.
Let's deal with the first half, and the first half was.
First half was, all right, you deal with a partner who has mental health. You're realizing that it's a mental health issue, and they did not know.
Oh, so somebody who doesn't think that didn't know, they just think it's just normal. It's normal to them.
It's normal to them. It's just something they do.
Okay, so so if you have a partner, yes, this is an issue I don't know why mine is behind. Hold on a minute. Let me see so I can see everything.
So
Okay.
Tim put up here and says this issue is
It's
worth
the
convo.
conversation. It
Yes,
definitely
it
is. So you have somebody, you're in a relationship with them, but they don't realize that they have a mental illness.
Right.
So how do we approach that? Because depending on the person, they could either be open to the conversation about it, or in their head, you're the crazy one. There's absolutely nothing wrong with me.
Right.
And you could be the one they feel like you're gaslighting them all the time, or you know you have those types of behavioral responses. So how do you work through a relationship with that? How do you work, not just it can be any type of relationship. It
Right,
could be a family member. It could be, right. So how do you help that person that doesn't necessarily, no, let me rephrase that is not necessarily open to even the possibility of exploring that they have this issue?
Well, it could be a few things in my opinion, because one, how did you discover that it was a mental health condition versus that just being someone's demeanor, behavior?
Well, I know for me and for Vonda both, we've worked in that field. Definitely, we were around people.
Oh,
she keeps saying my daughter on. She keeps saying it's not public, but I see it as public. Jazz, I'm gonna have to give you access to it to see what the problem is, because I went on there and it's showing public. I don't know why it's not ready to tag. I don't know what else I'm doing wrong, but everything I looked at in the settings for this page to be public is public. So I don't know.
All right, first of all, let me give her shout out.
Yeah, let me see what else I can do real quick.
Thank you for joining. Jazz, give your mama a call and help up on the technical side real quick, see if she can make it public. But yes, you were saying that my sister Vonda and yourself,
we both worked in that field some, so we kind of know a little bit what those signs look like. Hit the three dots to edit the audience. Hold on a minute. Let me go back.
So I'm gonna read Tim's. Tim says he's dealt with this and he failed. Okay, so Tim, my question to you would be, did you know, or did you discover late in the relationship, whichever relationship it was, that it was a mental health issue? And why do you feel like you failed? Lack of knowledge, education, maybe the way you handled it. And maybe like my wife said, the other person wasn't very receptive to the idea that they may have a mental health issue. So as soon as you can type that, I'll read out your response. Yeah, so again, what I was saying to her while she's dealing with the technical part. First, I would be if I'm gonna play the part of the partner that doesn't realize I have a mental health issue. I don't think it's just me. I'm just ornery. I snap here and there, but it's nothing mentally wrong with me. So what would lead you to believe that, okay, I have a mental health issue? Like, again, are you gaslighting me? Are you sitting there trying to make me feel bad or make me seem like this crazy deranged person or something else? So I think it's something that has to be dealt with very...
Kid gloves?
Well, I won't say kid gloves. I don't even like the term for that. But it needs to be dealt with a very the people involved need to be educated. Someone who is an expert that dealt with this needs to be involved, because, well, as we said before in this podcast, sometimes we're not receptive when something's being brought to us because we automatically put this defense mechanism.
I think she's talking about this. It won't allow me to.
So Tim says, let's see. He says he felt there was an issue. Okay. Jazz also says it's levels of mental illness, because sometimes the accuser is the crazy one. I have to give some credit on that. That could be true. That could be very true. Trying to try to pass the bucket. Tim says, because the other person claimed I was gaslighting. See, exactly what Jazz is talking about, right? But not so much of you being crazy, but you're just saying, no, they're not the issue. You're the issue. And you're trying to make something more than what it is. Okay, so Tim, you said that they claimed that you were gaslighting, and they felt they used illness as a justification for bad behavior and disrespect. I can see that very much so because, again, some people, because they're not willing to just accept that and say, I have this and let me deal with it and take full responsibility, yeah, they can go to that and use it as a victim mentality, so to speak. And I hope I'm not offending anybody with that, but like you said, use it as justification that when they go off or do what they're doing, it's not because they have a mental health issue. They also have a respect and boundary issue. And when it's pointed out to them, then they lean on the mental aspect as verification and justification of why they act like that. You should automatically accept it because I have this issue. And it excuses the other lining issues. So yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that. As I said earlier, awareness and education, I think, needs to play a huge part in this because both parties, even though aware, could not be fully educated.
Right.
And the person that definitely isn't aware that they have the issue, period, to begin with, definitely needs some education on how to manage,
right,
how to deal with it, how to recognize.
Right. So I think it's always important if you can get a professional involved, somebody outside of yourself, because what I found out sometimes is people, when you're closer to them, they're not always receptive to take that information in. So finding an outside provider and somebody who specializes in that field may be a good option. Not to say that, hopefully you can get the person in to actually want to talk to somebody at least and say, okay, well, maybe a little bit of my behavior or some of my behaviors or things that I do is a little, extreme.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But if somebody has always felt like they've always been this way and this is the way they are and this is it, then the decision, and it depends on what type of relationship you're in, because if you're in a relationship or married to somebody, then you have to decide if this is something that you're willing to live with and through, because the person may not be wanting to change.
And also, like you said, I agree with a lot that you said. Also, if you may have to take a step back.
Mm-hmm.
And even though that's an upfront issue that needs to be dealt with, you might have to step back and deal with the other underlying issues of accountability, stuff like that. Because if they're not going to accept that, they're not going to accept this.
Right. And that's what I'm talking about.
You might have to peel back the layers.
But how many layers do you peel back? Because you have to make a decision. Is this relationship where like my patience, my love and my time, I love you, but I may not be able to love you through this. If you're not even willing to trust me, knowing that I love you and say, hey, I see this as an issue, because then to me, it becomes not just that, it's a matter of trust. Do we really have trust in this relationship when it comes to this? So when I say something to you, are you going to automatically just assume that I'm saying it to hurt you? Or am I doing this, or I'm saying this because I see something's wrong, I'm concerned, and I feel like we need help? Because now it affects other parts of the relationship, everything.
I think that will come into play with the relationship, where you're at and how long you've been together, how that dynamic plays out. Okay. Let's get to some of these.
Let's say what was the last one you read?
I'll go back to Jazz. So Jazz said the biggest term that people throw loosely is being a narcissist, and most people have those character traits in general, but it's
it's
levels.
I
agree with that.
I agree with that.
Then Tim comes back. Tim says, I wanted to get her help, but she saw me as the issue because her friends didn't see it and felt like it's because she plays a different role with her friends than in our home.
Well, okay, so how can and I'm just wondering now, and I'm asking this question because when it comes to mental illness, that's not something you can fake. So it ain't something you can always turn. You can't really turn it off and on. So how is it she is acting one way with the friends and another way in the home? Is that mental illness or is that just her being something? Is that something else?
I think it can be both.
But how do you? I've never seen anybody that can turn off and on.
No. So not necessarily turn it on. So let me put this to it then. So you and I are having discussions and we're having issues at home, and I bring up to you the mental health aspect, and I think something may be going on.
Right.
With it. But when you get around your friends, you constantly play the victim. You might not even bring up that I brought up, hey, we might need to go talk to someone and see if this is an issue because I see some things. But when you're with your friends, you're constantly playing the victim like I'm constantly attacking you. I'm doing all these things. So your friends are starting to see me as the bad guy and you're playing both roles. So yeah, the mental health issue may be there, but
right. But what he's saying is that they don't agree because they're not seeing the mental illness that she's maybe telling them about being around them. That part of it.
Right, because in a relationship, I see a more intimate part of you than your friends do.
Well, absolutely.
So, and when you say turn it off and on, then I can definitely see you turn it off and on around your friends because some people play roles big time. They're able to turn things off and on.
Yeah, but you can't turn. I don't feel like you can turn off mental illness. That is a chemical. That is an imbalance of the brain. That is not something you can just sit here and say I can turn off. Now I can turn off and on my emotions and how I act around people. I think those are two completely separate things.
So let me stop you there then. So with your friends, right? When I talk about that intimacy may be your trigger to your mental health. So on that level, it is turned off when you're with your friends because you never get into those intimate discussions or arguments.
Okay, you brought up a point.
Or don't need to justify yourself to them when it comes to anything intimate. But with me and you feel like you may have to, and then you can't, or you're not able to, or whatever the case may be. And that's when all your triggers are pushed.
Okay, so again, if my mental illness is being triggered by something that you're doing, maybe you're part of the issue.
It could be. It very well could be.
Because
I won't say it's not.
Right. Because if it's only being triggered by things that you may say or do, maybe that's something that needs to be addressed because maybe some of the tools or whatever needs to come into play to keep that from even happening.
And I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying you
I hear you. I'm just saying that
you can be right on that part. Again, like we always say, self
awareness,
able to look in the mirror and be honest with yourself.
Who you are, right?
When someone's pointing it out are difficult things, I think, for everybody. Right. To certain levels and degrees. Let's get back to some of this right here.
He says Jazz said they are biased. He said, Jazz said, yeah, because the question is, what if it can threaten your life one day, what should people do? Or the kid's life. And that's the point I'm getting to. And he said, that's a great point. They are this way. And then
that's it. I felt that
it was a cop out.
It was a cop out.
They said that.
I can see that, saying that this is the way they are. Yeah. Because they're just trying to get you to just go along with everything.
Right. Because you know
I'm this way. So just
accept me the way I am.
Right.
And that's absolutely fine. But
I agree with that.
Right.
But let's get you some help.
Right. And that's what I was going to say.
So now
fine.
if not willing to get the help, then we have a bigger issue.
Exactly. Because my thing is, okay, you can have this. You know, I have this issue, but what can I do to manage it? How can we go about managing it?
So Tim comes back. Tim says, because if I gotta grow, they gotta grow with. I think I missed a part.
No, yeah, he said with, and then where am I?
I don't know if I'm gonna read Jazz reply. I wanted to get her help, but she saw me as the issue because her friends.
That's what Jazz was liking for his. He was like, yeah, that's the worst because it's different living with someone and people putting on masks. So I guess she's putting on a mask when she was with her friends.
Right. But when she at home, you get to see everything full blown. Yeah, I can definitely see that. Tim says
that's the other part of it.
When she's with her friends, she's what's that? Jovial and fun and playing victim with her friends, and I'm attacking. Yeah, like I said before.
Right.
And he said, I also felt like they did see it, but they don't know what to say to her that will actually land because she cuts off people who don't agree with her. And that's true because she can have a bunch of people that, for lack of better words, that are followers. And they just cuddle to everything she says.
They pacify her behavior and they encourage it. Deborah, we're talking about mental illness, dealing with somebody with struggles of mental illness in the family. I mean, in your relationship or the family, and maybe either they're not aware that they have the mental illness, or when you do bring it up, or maybe they've never told you about it, and then you find out that they have it. Like, how do you deal with those situations, and what do you do? And Tim is just talking about a situation he was in where he was trying to get someone that he loves and care about some help, but that she didn't necessarily want the help, or she played victim as if, he was just attacking her. So that's just us catching you up real quick while you're on halftime.
So on the end, awareness and education, right? Understanding the conditions like anxiety, because that can play a very big part, right? Or depression.
Depression.
So those two can very lead into that mental illness that triggers everything we're talking about, right? And now we're going to talk about support versus codependency. Now that's very important. So helping without taking on the illness.
How do you do that?
How do you do that?
Because I know as women, we're so emotionally, we take on all of that. So all the pain, all the hurt, like we're taking on all of that. Like, how do you separate that in order to not lose yourself, but get the person help that they need, but yet not seeing that you're not being sensitive to what they have going on? Like, how do you work through all
because
of that?
You want to help,
but you don't.
But how do you take on an illness that you may be totally uneducated about?
Right.
So that's why we say get the help. There are experts out there that can help you. There are people who went through it, have successfully gotten through it and managed, and still in a healthy relationship. So seek help. Seek somebody that can help you. Seek somebody that can work with you, especially professionals.
Right, and and if you know what your partners or that loved ones triggers are, learn how to navigate those to keep them from maybe being in a bad space, or maybe going into one of their episodes, if possible, as long as they're managing. If you know the signs that because you will notice the signs, especially if you have some that may be on medication, and then you see they stop taking their medication, you see those erratic changes and things of that sort. But if you got somebody who isn't on medication, but you do know that they have triggers, then you need to be aware of those triggers also.
Right.
V, did you want to pop in?
Yeah, I think definitely awareness and education. I feel like for so long, mental health issues, especially in the Black community, have kind of been pushed under the rug. We wasn't out here getting therapy, and or it was shunned upon. If you was going to see a therapist, it's like you was crazy, until you started to realize, like, oh shoot, these are very much so real issues. So I definitely agree that awareness and education plays a part. However, to Tim's point, definitely he did not fail. You cannot be with somebody that has mental health issues and they are not willing to seek help. You can't, because their issues, even if you don't want to make it your problem, when you're in a relationship and y'all are creating that intimacy, is going to spill over, is going to affect the other person. So if your partner is experiencing mental health issues and they're not willing to seek help, is the relationship, in my opinion, is going to be doomed anyway. Because there's a big elephant in the room and they're not willing to address it. Also, I feel like even if they didn't think they had mental health issues, if your partner is saying, this is what I'm seeing and this affecting me, even that is worth investigating, because it's like, well, dag, I don't feel like I have mental health issues, but I definitely don't want you to feel that way. So let's talk about it. Like, what are you noticing? How does it make you feel? And then for that point, if you need to bring a professional in, then that's just what needs to happen. But it has to be addressed, especially when you're in a
Right.
relationship.
Let me give you your flowers. Thank you for giving Tim credit, his
Thank
flowers, and
you.
that he didn't fail.
He also said mostly what I dealt with was self-justification and highlighted reels diagnosing and self-proclaimed expert. Okay, that's what she was saying. Because so what?
Self-justification and highlight reels.
I saw that part.
Diagnosing and self-proclaimed expert.
Expert because
so
on and so on social media and this.
Said this.
Okay,
so she was using social media as her expert source.
And Deborah says, it's like when I used to take my mom to her doctor's appointment, or she was admitted in the hospital, and I would say to them, I have the equipment and the knowledge and the experience, and she would never make it here. I would be able to do these things myself.
But since I am not equipped, nor do I have the skills, I brought to her to a place where she could get the things that she need and help with. So with that being said, love them. You gotta take them to get the help that they need, because if you don't, the enabling and cuddling, and you're hurting both of y'all. Yep. I agree.
Absolutely.
Totally agree. Let me give you your flowers. V, it was something that you said that I want to kind of bring up, right? You said about in the being with mental health in the Black community not being, as upfront and present like it should be. And being that you and my wife both dealt in the in that field, so the question would go out to both of you guys. I read somewhere that this whole mental health thing too was abused in the Black community. Like young men, we're built up with testosterone from a young age. Mm-hmm. Like if you look at Cam, my grandson, you can't get him to sit down for 5 seconds. His attention span is
like a flea
over the place. I mean, he could be in the middle of playing a sport and just see something else and just off over there doing whatever, where everybody's over here doing that. And I say that to say, I read where they were taking kids, and especially in the poor communities, not just Black, but in the poor communities, and just putting them on all kinds of medications, saying, "Oh, you have a mental health issue. Oh, you ADHD. Oh, you this and that," and they didn't really need it. They just needed to be. They just needed an outlet, and it's because how men are built that we're so built up with this thing called testosterone. It has us bouncing off the wall like a ping pong. Mm-hmm. Yes, it is hard to get them to concentrate and focus at a young age because of all that built up energy that is just there.
And I don't know if you remember, but V, we did see that like a lot of young children, I know at least on my part, on the emergency services part, where they did have the mothers coming there. We lost her for a minute. We had the mothers coming there. She need to get back in.
All right.
I don't know if you remember, we had the mothers coming in, real young, talking about they can't control their children, and we had young children as young as 5 years old, same age as Cam, maybe a little younger, and the parents is like, they're out of control. I can't do anything with them. They were putting them on that medication. So, I mean, I did see a lot of that, and I don't think that helped the child, because I think it was just like you said, a lot of times, you know, they're children.
Right.
I don't think the parents realize that they just want this child to just sit here and not move. That's a child. That's what they're supposed to do.
Right.
Run around, and you know, they're not gonna always listen to you and everything, but they take it and they say, oh, well, the child's not listening to me. Or I would have some that say, the child is abusing me. Well, you know, I think that comes in with a whole
different
side of it, but still, those are the things they would use. And some of these doctors would listen to that and then put them on medication.
Some of them, I think, was just because of the funding and the way they can in their pockets. We're just throwing children on these medications. So Jazz, she's back. Deborah says she's sorry. She meant to say that since she didn't have the training, the knowledge.
Yeah, okay. We got it. We was understanding. We was trying to work through it. We got it.
So the other parts of that was setting boundaries, right?
Oh wait, hold on, Kev. Can I chime in on your abuse part?
Absolutely.
I think that that goes along with the issues in the Black community, because I think it kind of went to abuse because nobody still wanted to address the issue. And I think that it's always like when you hear, you know, you don't want to hear that something is wrong with your kid. Right. You know what I mean? You just don't want to hear something is wrong with your kid. So then when you get to the point and they are out of control and you're just like, okay, secretly something is wrong with my kid. Let me take them somewhere. And then you go take them somewhere and they want to put them on medication. But then next thing you know, that winds up to you getting a check.
Right.
So I think then it starts to spiral into abuse because you're still not addressing the issue. You're still not willing to go get a therapist and sit down and talk through the hard stuff. Like, how did we get here? You know what I mean? What is triggering is just like, okay, they're on medication and we're getting a check. And I think that turns into the abuse because then you just tolerate it because you're getting a check every month.
Right. So I'm glad you said that, because I was on the standpoint from a medical professional abuse. But you're right. Is abuse on both sides behind a check. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Because the doctors, they're getting kickbacks too.
Right.
From prescribing this medication, as opposed to saying, you know what, this child is 5.
Right.
Let's not put them on medication. Let's get them some therapy. Let's try the holistic route before we start. The child's brain ain't even fully, you know what I mean, functioning, fully developed yet. But everybody is getting kickbacks. And
right. Let's not put them on all this sugar smacks and all this high fructose corn syrup. Then you wonder why they bouncing all over the place.
Exactly. Yeah.
Regardless of what we eat, get back to some healthy stuff. Absolutely.
Yep.
When it comes to our kids. So let me get back to this part. Setting boundaries. So protecting personal and mental health while being supportive. So how do we do that? How do you personally protect your mental health of someone, but also be supportive at the same time? So I think it ties back into what Ivana was saying. Seek the professional help. Don't be embarrassed or ashamed to talk about it.
Right.
You know, let another family member know that this is what you're dealing with, because they may have the avenue for you to go to get the help.
Right.
You know, so it's something that we don't need to be ashamed of.
And she also talked about, like, with children too, not just help, and if they do have to be on medication, especially if we're talking about younger children and adults too, because I don't think anybody should just be straight on all of that medication. If we can find some holistic things that we can do first, along with the therapy, like Rhonda said, that would be the best thing. Because what I found out also with these children being on medication, and V, you can tell me if I'm incorrect or not, but I'm just going off of what I remember and what we were in. A lot of that medication also leads to other health issues with these children and with these adults. Then we got weight gain. So now we're dealing with obesity on top of that, then they become addictive, and that leads to other drugs that now, as they get older, they're wanting to be on, because that medication makes them feel a certain way. So they're always chasing that high. Right. So those are things that need to also be considered, before going that route. Me personally.
So one of the things I want
Absolutely.
that we kind of like brushed over real quick, but
what did we brush over there?
I'm about to bring it up here in a second. So we pointed out depression, and we pointed out anxiety. Those are not small things. They are mental health issues. Depression is a mental health issue. Anxiety is a mental health issue. So when we say those things, we're not necessarily talking about, we say mental health, we're not talking about just being crazy. Right. That is a part of it. But there are a multitude of things that fall under mental health.
And can I say something? Do you think, and I don't know, this is probably me being naive or, uneducated a little bit in that field. Do you, and V, tell me what you think, your expertise. Do you think, since he brought that up, do you think that depression and anxiety are things that could lead to maybe some of the other?
Absolutely.
Because I feel like they can, because
if they go unchecked
for a minute. Yeah, because in my head.
Okay, so I'm not gonna get into all my personal business, but schizophrenia could definitely lead into those from those two.
From depression.
For me, I have anxiety issues. My anxiety issues, I'll get up in the middle of the night and go back and check every last door there is in this house to make sure it's locked. Now, I'm not scared about nobody breaking in here.
Oh, he definitely.
Because I got something to get you up out of here. But it's just
you don't sleep well.
I don't sleep well unless I know for a fact
we safe.
Everything is locked. If I hear the slide, I'll wake up in the middle of the night and hear something outside, and I'll get up 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, open my door, walk outside, look around the vehicles, like, all right, it better be a deal something out here.
Or the dogs. Don't let the dogs go off.
Or the dogs going off, and I go back. Those things could definitely lead into other characteristics of mental health. And that's why I say, that's why I said we brushed over it. I wanted to go back to it because when I say naive, please don't take that as belittling you, but when we just don't know a thing, we just don't know.
Right. We're just not educated on that.
Right. So sometimes I think in our community, we look at these things as, oh, you're just depressed. You're just down. No, those are truly mental health issues that have to be addressed. Some get so severe where medication and therapy is needed. So yeah, we definitely have to get to the bottom of those things quickly.
What do you think, V?
Hold on, let me address. Exactly. Good. And they said gut health. So he was talking about when we said get off the fructose corn syrup and get back to a healthy way of living. Absolutely, Tim. Thank you. All right, go ahead, V.
I absolutely agree that depression and anxiety can lead to bigger issues if they're not acknowledged. You know what I mean? If they're not acknowledged, if they are completely overlooked, because it will cause a spiral effect and it will continue to affect those around you. one thing that I feel like people don't really understand about depression or anxiety is you can't turn it off. It's not like a on and off switch. You cannot love somebody out of
Right.
depression. You can't love somebody out of anxiety. Now, Kel, in your situation, I get it. We gonna make sure these doors locked. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. Like, that is a safety. You know what I mean? Like, that is a safety concern. That is something you're trying to make sure your family is safe. If that means you're getting up, 50, 11 times throughout the night, you may not want to, but it's like, what's going on out here? And then you think about where we came
Right.
from. You need to see what's happening. So I mean, I get that, but when you are just taking it way too far, you know what I mean, and nobody is saying anything or it's not being addressed, it definitely can spiral um way out of control. Back in the day, I knew somebody who really was a functioning um just being depressed. He was functioning. That was his life. um you know um I've dealt with it. It's almost like you're on
Mhm.
autopilot and there's no switch. There's really no switch. I used to say to him, come on, like, before I knew better, like, snap out of it. And one day he was like, V, I don't want to be sad. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to feel this way, but I can't I can't
Right.
help it. So I think that being aware and taking doing the necessary things to get help is definitely important, because it will spiral and get out of control and definitely lead to, to other things, because you're going to end up doing something to help what you're feeling, whether that's drugs, whether that's alcohol. The next thing you know, you're dealing with substance
Right.
abuse. So yeah.
Absolutely. Um, so V, I'm going to come back to you because I got a question for you, and you could talk and both probably answer this. But let me read Deborah first. She says a lot of children are misdiagnosed because young parents misunderstand the child's action. He's not listening. He's too hyper. He cries too much. I don't know what to do. But I am a firm believer if you
Did a lot of crying when you were pregnant or acting up when you were pregnant. A lot of that has to do with you, and you have to look into your family history, shake that tree, let them nuts fall out, and there is some loose ones on both sides. It's like what Quinn said. They are children. They are still trying to develop their brains. Why
skill
they
wise.
skill wise, just being kids. Yes, some of my older friends having those meltdowns too. I told them that they need to get. I told them
That
that
what you
you
get
get
from
for
making
making
people
people when you're a
a
thousand
thousand
years
years
old.
old.
Oh, I guess they older, so they're making
Making
young
babies to an
babies,
old age.
at an old age. But I
That's
mean,
funny.
absolutely.
All right, so that's funny.
Mhm.
The question to Quintella and V. So you talked about the person that said they couldn't turn it off and was a functioning person dealing with depression.
I was one of those.
Is it possible? Is it possible because of your depression, right?
Hmm.
Like Tim said, you could put on this mask when you're around other people, trying to be just the opposite of what you truly are, but trying to portray the opposite on the outside around your friends and coworkers. And can you start to mentally believe you are that person that then when you get home and reality kicks in, that's when the issues really come into play with your partner because now you're faced with the reality of your forced reality?
For me, when I was dealing with my mental, my little depression, it was just what it was. I think that I was like on V. I was just on autopilot. I was doing everything I necessarily had to do, as far as taking care of the family, doing my day to day, all of that stuff. But dealing with uh, what I was going through was like never an option for me. I know it's there. I know I'm dealing with it. I put it in the back of my head, and because I just need to make it through the day. But I don't want nobody bothering me. I don't want nobody asking me any questions. I just want to do what I need to do to get through this day, and that's it. Because I don't see any other way of dealing with this. Like how do I like V said when the guy was like, I don't want to not be happy.
Right.
This is just where I'm at right now, and I feel like I'm drowning and I don't know how to get out of it. The only thing I do know how to do is go on autopilot and get up every day. I gotta wash. It's just like this. I gotta wash my butt. I gotta, I don't want to move. Okay. Well, Quinn, you got children to take care of. You got a husband to take care of. Okay. And then I'm sitting here and I'm having these talks with myself, and I'm like, but what about you, Quinn? Well, you're not right. What's important right now? You got to get them going. And that's what I kind of live through every day until at some point, it was like, okay, this needs to stop. Like, I need to find a way out of this. And part of finding a way out of this is finding out why I'm depressed and how can I move forward from that. Like what are the steps? What do I need to do to get climb out of this hole I'm in?
Okay. I definitely get that. Really didn't answer the question.
Why not?
I want to get back to him and see if V has an answer for it. What do you think, V? I totally understand what you're saying. I do agree with that. But go ahead, V. You got anything?
So I feel like for me in my personal experience, I was people that didn't know me did not know that this is what I was going through, because I'm not just walking up to strangers being like, oh,
Right.
Right.
a high functioning, going through depression. So I did not, I'm not going to say I turned it off, but when you're working with people, you're on autopilot, like you're high functioning, so you're able to go in, do your job, you're able to interact with people. When I came home, it didn't make me worse, but my reality set in, like, okay, this is how I'm feeling. This is a very real thing. This is what I'm going through. And the autopilot just continued. Um, but it didn't necessarily get worse for me. But I was able to interact, and you know what I mean, like with work, and even laugh and have a good time. Um, but it didn't make it
Okay.
worse. It just was, when I came back home, it was just like, okay, this is still my reality. This is what it is.
Okay. And see,
Which is that's what
that's
I
the
was
question I
saying.
was asking. You just tell how you function with how you dealt with it. I was saying when you're out amongst other people.
But that was me saying that was me saying that I had to get up in the morning and I had to take care of everything I needed to take care of for everybody else. Like me didn't matter. I was just on autopilot,
Right. That's
doing my normal functions.
Right. That's the depression part. But what I was more alluding to was what Tim said. Like he said, she put on a mask when she's in front of the other people. So the autopilot for you was getting up, taking care of everything that you know to take care of.
Right. Just like even at work. I mean, you go through.
You're not taking care of home at work.
Yeah, but
so V kind of answered like what I was saying. She's like, when she's at work, she didn't necessarily turn it off, but she said that she was functioning, like she was talking about the other guy, that she's functioning because she could be happy. She could have fun at work, laugh and joke and not be depressed at all.
See, but that's because you're looking at depression in a one in like this one scope. Depression is multifaceted.
No,
You're
I agree
looking
with that.
right. So what you're I clearly understand you wanted to know what it was like outside. I thought I was answering
No,
that.
no,
I just used
no. Not,
like
not,
when I
not,
say outside, you wanted to know, okay, in a social setting, what was I doing? If I did say that, you know, when I went other places, I just wanted to hurry up, do what I needed to do. And, you know, I really didn't want nobody bothering me or like kind of engaging if I don't have to. If I'm out, I'm doing what I need to do, that's fine. If I had to engage, that was fine also. But for the most part, everything Vonda said, okay, she just said it differently. It's okay. We can continue.
No.
No.
So what I'm saying is that was not necessarily what you were doing. I'm trying to recap off of what Tim was saying. Tim said she put on a totally different mask. Right. So from that one, I asked the question to both of you. I said, if you're depressed and when you're out in that environment away from home, you're in a relationship, you're away from home, you're out amongst friends and coworkers. Do you? Yes, I did. I said you're among friends and coworkers. Do you put on a mask and be someone totally different? I said, because at work, you're no longer depressed, you're happy, you're doing all that. And then when you come back home, does it make it worse? Because now you're back home with your partner who knows that you're going through this depression. Does it make it worse because now you're being faced with the reality again that you're depressed? So Vonda said for her, it didn't make it worse. She worked off an autopilot that when she was with her friends, she could not be in a depressed state. She could laugh. She could joke and have a good time out there.
Right.
But yeah, when she did come home, reality did set in.
Okay, so with that being said, that could be.
It didn't make it worse.
Okay, but that could be what Tim's, the person he was dealing with was going through, where it wasn't so much as they didn't see it. Of course, they didn't see it. They because it wasn't there. They didn't know that she was depressed, and she could have had depression.
Yeah, so I was just asking, does it make it worse because you put on, for lack of better terms, you put on a front over here, and do you start to believe in that front that you're putting on?
Well, he said for her, it looks like she did, because he said she was depressed, seeking thrills and escape. Made him seem like the villain. For every lie or story told, it got deeper. So, you know, maybe that was her way of dealing with what her depression.
So Tim comes back and Tim's confirming my question. And then when I say confirm, yeah, it's from her experience.
Right, because like I said, depression doesn't look the same for everyone.
Right. So my question was, when you put on this front, because not everybody put on a front. So when Vonda was going to work, she wasn't putting on a front. She was on autopilot, able to be undepressed for a moment at that workplace and get through the workplace. And when she came home, it didn't get worse. And I said, does it get worse because you start to believe?
I don't think she ever got undepressed. I just think that right then and there, that wasn't something that needed to be dealt with or addressed, because she had other important, and I think that's the part you're missing. What happens is the depression never leaves. It's just that if you got other things that are more pressing at that time, they go to the top of what you need to deal with right then and there. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think we may disagree on that. But
I don't think so.
No, I can disagree. We cannot agree. I think we disagree.
Okay.
Your standpoint is your standpoint.
Right. The depression doesn't. She just don't become undepressed. Yes, it's just not at that level. It's not in her face right then and there.
Okay, I can.
That's what I'm saying. You know, because she have other things that she needs to take care of. That's in order to get through the day, or it's more responsibilities.
I can agree with that part. Laughing and joking may not be a responsibility at that moment, but anyway, regardless, back to Tim. So Tim's kind of like going along with what I said without my question was in its totality. My question was if for you, your depression leads you to putting up and acting like someone you're not when you're in this other group setting. And then when you come home, does it make your depression worse? Because now you're dealing with the depression with someone who knows you, not the makeup you, but they know you.
Mm-hmm.
And does it get worse because you yourself are starting to believe your own fallacy of the person you're trying to create on the other side? You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So now you create all right,
and that's the way they deal with it. They that's the way they're dealing with whatever they have going on.
And that's not a good way to deal with it.
It absolutely isn't.
For a comparison.
Okay.
Let's say you're broke, you're dead broke. You come home every day and you don't even have a can of beans to open. And when you go to work, you talk about, man, I had to decide whether I was going to eat Wagyu or I was going to eat some venison from Paris, France. You're creating this persona to this group that just you don't have beans at home to eat, but you're telling them about venison from Paris. So then when you get home, you're starting to believe that persona of being this wealthy person and having these exotic meals, and you're starting to feel good about this persona that you're creating. And then you come home and I'm like, oh man, you're here again? You ain't bring home no cheese to put with these beans? So all we're gonna have is beans again. And now you're mad and it makes the situation worse because you're having to deal with reality that you're not Wagyu, veal, Paris eating persona over here. You're being eaten persona, period. That's what I was kind of asking. But anyway, I'm gonna go on a tangent with that. So back to this last part about setting boundaries, and I'll let Quintella give the last little tidbit on that if you want to.
Encouraging professional help, clear boundaries, preserve healthy relationships.
That's part.
Practicing self-care is essential, and
that's the part she was talking about.
And that's the part
broke her out of hers.
Right.
Was like, I need to do me and get me straight.
Right, and that right. So self-care was definitely one of those things that I had to learn how to, because I would feel guilty about, and I thought it was being selfish if I did anything for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I had that guilt along with that. So so even if I did something nice for myself, I felt guilty about it, which made me depressed all over again because it's like, okay, maybe I shouldn't have. I was in that vicious cycle as if I didn't deserve, that. So learning how to do that self-care. Also for maybe the individual that you're in a relationship with or you're taking care of. You're finding some ways of maybe doing things together that would help with that self-care.
So self-care should be practiced by
both parties. Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. Because you need to figure out what part you're playing in the person's depression.
Right.
And the person that has the depression needs to deal with the issues that may be having them in that space.
Yeah, because the person that's receiving some backlash from the mental health, they definitely need self-care too, because now they're starting to feel a certain way about their partner.
Right. Because
who is not,
like he said, he was the villain. So I'm sure, like even now, listening to all this, like he said right here, it got worse for us because she believed her stories and had to keep them up, those stories for her friendships. It became how she got attention outside.
See, and that's kind of what I was alluding to.
Right. So, listening to that, how did that affect him? Yeah,
I'm quite sure.
Right. So now it's like,
nobody wants to be a villain.
Right. Nobody wants to be a villain when you're trying to help them. But you now got to think about your health because not only are you the villain, you're feeling crazy because it's like, yo, am I tripping like that? So you start to second guess yourself, and you know, and the parts you playing in that, which can take a toll on your mental health also. And
or like in his case, you can realize, no, you're not tripping. This person is really dealing with this, but making me look like to everybody else around us as this villain. How do I cope with that? Not falling into depression? Like, why wasn't my love enough
right
to save this marriage or relationship or dating, whatever? And I'm trying to help you. You should be able to receive that from me.
Right. That I'm not here to hurt you.
I'm not here to help you. I'm here to help you. And it's getting pushed back, and you're made to be this villain that you're absolutely not. And how do you cope with that? Because I can see how that can mess you up and break you down.
Right.
You know? So absolutely. Let me give him his flowers. He said also, and when I described what was going on to her friends, they said she said the same thing about me. So it's like I'm crazy. Yeah. So, you know, again, it's called deflection. And she probably realized that she's probably displaying those same traits to them. So she turned around, flipped the script, and says, "You probably making her
feel that way,
like that way." So yeah,
he the one got me crazy. He the one got me feeling such and such. He the one, you know. I wouldn't be acting this way if he didn't do X, Y, and Z. He the one.
Right.
So yeah, there was a whole lot of that, and
he want to be crazy. I'm gonna be crazy too. So definitely, I can see that. So yeah, this is a very interesting topic.
Do we do part B, or do we? I mean, the other one, or do we save it? Do y'all want to hear the next one?
It's 7 o'clock.
It's 7 o'clock. If so, we'll give you a quick little. I think
those who are on Facebook, put a 1 in the chat if you want us to continue with part B, or you want us to save that for next time.
And the question for part B is it okay to go through your partner's belongings, personal belongings?
There it is. It's back up on the screen.
Is it okay to go through your
partner's personal belongings? And there it is. Some people's heart are just pounding out their chest when your partner grabs your cell phone. You don't want them to see them text messages.
They ain't saying nothing.
So
let me know.
I'm gonna take that as a
we're gonna save that for last week, for next week.
Yeah, we'll save it for next week. Yeah.
Y'all think about that. Is it okay?
You're gonna bring that one back up next week.
Yeah. Is it okay
to go through your partner's personal belongings, cell phone, notebooks, diaries,
pockets,
well,
cars.
My pockets got raided ever since we got together. So
pockets.
But
yes.
Yeah,
he said, Tim said, yeah. Is it okay? Like,
is it okay?
Is that something you should be doing? It's going through your partner's personal
belongings? No.
So we got one no and we got one yes.
But Tim said, but ask.
He said, but ask. He did say, but ask.
We're gonna say
we'll save it for next
week.
What
you say?
No, I'll say.
What you say? You say your piece. What you say? Your piece.
No, I'll hold it to next week. We're gonna hold that one. And Tim said it's okay. We're gonna discuss that one some more next week. I think we're gonna end on this note.
Get your hands out my pocket.
I was gonna ask, are y'all okay with this 6 o'clock, or do we need to move it up an hour?
You better make it earlier?
Yeah, like 5 maybe. I don't know, because right now football.
It's up to y'all.
Football season is on. Some people be into that, and
some people had to catch up because their team had to catch up.
Ooh, is that what you're saying?
I don't know. I don't even know the score. But we are not Dallas fans over here.
We are not, so we don't care. Yeah, we don't care nothing about Dallas. They'll be all right. We do not care. Okay, so we're gonna end this for today. We thank everybody for coming on and joining on today. And I definitely love this discussion. I do think that anybody that's seeing this, if you know somebody that has some mental health issues, or they're struggling, or they're depressed, do everything you can to get them the necessary help that you can get. Awareness and education is very important. It's important that you understand the conditions and the signs of whatever the mental health issue that they're struggling with, and just do your best to try to help them if you're able to, and hopefully they'll be susceptible to that. But do not, set clear boundaries, and ask other people for help. Because
Absolutely.
you may not be the best person to help them through that. So if you can have interventions and things of that sort, by all means, make that happen. Anything you want to add, V, before we leave off?
No, y'all doing a great job, and I love the podcast. Keep up the good work.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. We love your support.
We love it.
And
For real.
we
We got the holidays coming up. I think we're gonna do something.
Okay.
Some kind of giveaway or something.
No, we gotta do something for our number one guest.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. For our number one guest, we're
Which
definitely
will be
gonna do.
V.
It's gonna be V, and I think that's what we're gonna start doing too. We're gonna please like, share, post. Bring others on, as much as you can share these posts or whatever. Please do that. Support, definitely, so that we can have more dialogue.
Yeah, bring us some topics.
Right, definitely. We have an email address. It is recipetoschivalry@gmail.com. You can hit us up on that email. You can also hit us on the messenger on Recipe to Chivalry. Oh no, don't do Recipe to Chivalry. Do the Kellen Quinn page.
Right.
Instead of the Recipe to Chivalry.
We need to build up our audience over there too. So
Yeah, we do. Also, for everybody that know me and Kel, you can hit us up on our socials too. So we're all over the place. You can always find us. If you can't get with somebody, and they'll be able to hook you up. But definitely send us a email or something at Recipe to Chivalry, and it's just like it is.
Yeah, recipe with the number 2.
And
chivalry
at gmail.com. So we thank y'all for coming on again today.
Yes,
y'all have a blessed week. Enjoy yourself and be good.
All for joining in so much. I'm Kel.
I'm Quintella, and this is Recipe to Chivalry.
We out.
Good night.
Good night, family. Good night.